away from all of your family, your friends, and your support network. Leave your job, your house, and everything you know for the chance of a better life on the other side of the world. How bad does your life have to be to make you want to give up all of that? G'day guys, my name's Ross and I moved with my family to Australia during a global pandemic. For the last 2.5 years we've been sharing our life in Australia with the hope of helping and inspiring you to make the move yourself. But when I think about it, we've never really shared with you our specific reasons for moving, and we've never really answered the question of what we gave up to move here. So why did we move to Australia? I guess it comes down to 3 parts. The young me, the stupid one, the older me, the less stupid but probably slightly hairier one, and then the future me, and that one definitely does get more stupid with age. Now the young me was very fortunate, and I know for some of you, you haven't been able to experience what it's like to be in Australia. I was lucky, and a 10-year-old me came to Australia. Visited a zoo that I thought was Australia Zoo. It wasn't. I didn't meet Steve Irwin, but I'd been infected with the love for the wide brown land. Now if you haven't had that experience, then maybe your fondness has developed in some other way. I had a friend at school. Let's just call her Leroy. And no, that's not a very weird name for a girl at all. Don't be so judgmental. Leroy was addicted to watching Antipodean soap operas, and every day would come home from school to binge watch her favourite shows. She watched Neighbours, but secretly she slightly preferred Home and Away. What is your secret motivation to want to move to Australia? Leroy's was to live her Australian dream. What is it that you've seen, or heard, or experienced that makes you want to live the rest of your life away from your friends and family? Because you're going to want to know that it's all worth it, chasing that Australian dream that you had when you were your younger self. But what about the older you? The one who's lived a little, experienced the real world and the trials and tribulations of just life. Why don't they teach us about life in school? Well, the older me had forgotten about Australia. I had nearly left it too late. The older me was too concerned with chasing the career, getting on the property ladder, getting married, having children, and spending time with my friends and family. You could argue, living my best life. Silly me. But life isn't that easy. There are challenges. It's not about how hard are you prepared to work in your job to get what you want. We don't live in that idealistic world. And it turns out I'm pretty lazy too. Not everyone is going to get to the top. You've worked hard, you've sacrificed, but there comes a point when you realise that the work that you put in just to get by might not be worth it anymore. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze. This is actually really hard. Don't waste it. You might have a house to pay for. Lucky you. But you wonder, is this all I'll ever be able to afford? You spend meaningful quality time with your friends and family, but all too often it's indoors, out of the weather, and it just costs an arm and a leg just to have something to do. Why is everything so expensive these days? The older you is now wondering, is there another way? And that leads to the future you, the dreamer you, the one that wants all the good things in life and doesn't want to take any more shit, but is also realistic. I came to a realisation somewhere between the older me and the future me that if I stayed where I was, then I probably wouldn't move forward in my life the way I wanted to. It wasn't that I wasn't happy, but probably greedy. Greedy that I wanted more. This is also the part of your life where you start to gain some perspective about what is actually achievable and what is truly important. Some people want different things. And that is why Australia isn't for everyone. Do you want to live the rest of your life close to your friends and family? Well, Australia probably won't work for you. Are you happy with where you live and what you do with your life? Then lucky you, don't change. Can you see yourself filled with happiness in the future where you currently are? Well, if you can, isn't that the dream? I think that for every unhappy person that did what I did and left everything they knew to find happiness on the other side of the world, there are as many, if not more, who are really happy where they are. I selfishly wish that I could have been one of those. I really do. I wish I could still be with my friends and family back in the UK, but that wasn't part of my journey. It isn't one part of you that wants this, the younger, older, or future you, but a combination of all three. No one's part is the same, but there are lots of similar parts to every person that does make the move to the other side of the world. Everyone is different. You need to decide what is important to you. Is it the climate full of sunshine, even as it comes into winter now? Queensland does get surprisingly cold sometimes. Make sure you pack a coat. Is it for a better work-life balance with a fairer wage? I was never paid badly in the UK, but in Australia I am paid better. Is it because you look at the future in your own country and you want to try and see if something else could be better? No one really knows what the future holds, or whether Australia is really going to be for them. Well, in the world that we currently live in, where so many of us have the opportunity and privilege to seek a better life, it seems like a terrible waste to not give it a go. It's only money. It could only be a little bit of your time. Would you be happy spending only a few years in Australia, only to realise it wasn't for you, or to waste years of your life where you are, only to realise that the migration to Australia Australia boat had already sailed. We don't come here on boats anymore. I mean, you can, but not really. And the metaphorical boat for most people ends at 45, by the way. And if any parts of you have thought about living in Australia, whether they're young, older, or future, but you don't know where to start, then you need to speak to an expert. I'm no expert, but I do know some people who are. Speak to True Blue Migration Services, who are one of Australia's oldest and most experienced group of MARA registered agents. And when you mention us, they'll tell you for free, with no obligation, what your best options are for moving to Australia. Don't struggle with all of the forms, or trying to figure out your eligibility, or trying to navigate the ever-changing landscape that is the Australian immigration system. Hey, if you've even thought that there could never be an option for you, speak to True Blue Migration Services and they might be able to find you a way. What have you got to lose? So, would we ever move back? Probably not, but nothing is ever certain. That's one of your main security blankets for the whole move. If you don't like it or it doesn't work, you can always move back. What's worse? A life of regret from the future you because the younger or older you could never convince you to make the move? Or a future you having spent some money, took a risk that could possibly have led to the best decision you've ever made? Actually, that's not really a bad thing. You spent a bit of money, that's probably the worst thing. You can earn money again. All we are is a collection of memories. I'd rather have the ones I wanted rather than just the ones I got, doing the same things I ever did. And if you're new to the whole moving to Australia process, then this video will tell you the 7 things that they don't tell you before you move to Australia. See you later.